The Google Ad Grant is up to $10,000 a month of free advertising dollars to qualifying nonprofits to use in the paid search space on Google. You can create search ads on Google. These will drive traffic to your site, and you can use them to encourage users to take action and support your cause in a variety of different ways, which we will talk about in a bit. Very exciting. $10,000 a month for free. That's $120,000 a year, which is a lot of money. So definitely recommend taking advantage of this afforded site. We love using the ad grant to grow awareness. You can increase your site traffic and allow people to access your vital information and learn about your important causes. You can use the ad grant to test strategies. You can try out different messaging and optimization strategies that you wouldn't otherwise maybe want to in a paid environment. You can do it in a low risk environment in the ad grant where you're not actually paying for that real estate. And you can also use it to drive impact, right? Help your organization achieve meaningful conversions, whether it's partnerships, donations, leads, applications, whatever. So that's a great tool that is at your disposal. So I'd really recommend getting involved if you aren't already. In order to be eligible for the Google Ad Grant, you must be a certified 501c3 charitable organization. You must have a high quality website and be able to meet the various program policies. We're not going to jump into this too specifically, but basically you can't be like soliciting payments. You know, you can use your site to raise donations, to get people to volunteer, but you know, the goal of the ad grant is not to sell goods and services, so they won't allow that. Also, an interesting and important note is that government entities or organizations, hospitals or healthcare organizations, schools, universities, or academic institutions all are not eligible for the Google Ad Grant. And in terms of a highly recommended prerequisite, we at Whole Whale, as well as various experts across the board, would really recommend setting up a Google Analytics account. Previously, this was called Universal Analytics, but in July of last year, Google did to what is known as Google Analytics 4 or GA4. So what are Google Ads? So you can see in this screenshot here, we Googled support for individuals with disabilities, and two different listings came up. The top one here has this sponsored tag that you can see at the top, whereas the listing underneath does not have this sponsored tag. The sponsored post is the Google ad, whereas the one without the sponsored tag is considered an organic result. Some key terms to be aware of as we dive into these discussions around the Google Ad Grant, how you can get the most out of it. A search query is what somebody actually types into Google and then hits enter in order to get some results, right? So anything that somebody is searching in Google, you go and type in whatever it is, that is your search query. When somebody hits enter, you know, they'll see, like we saw on the last screen, they might see an ad. But when they do that, that is considered an impression. Each time somebody sees your ad, it'll add one to your impression count. So in essence, the number of impressions you get is the number of times your ad was seen. Then somebody might click on the ad, pretty self-explanatory, and go to your landing page. My head is kind of in the way here, but the landing page is the page on your site that the ad directs to. So it doesn't actually necessarily need to be your homepage. In many cases it might be, but you should consider the other pages on your site that are good front doors to your organization and ways in which you would want people to interact. We'll talk more about landing pages in a bit, but something important to think about for now. So here's how it works. A user searches something. That is the search query. Google will then look through all the ad accounts in the system that actively have the keyword in their account, which this might be different than search queries. We'll go through the key differences between keywords and search queries in a bit. But the main difference is keywords are what the advertiser inputs, whereas search queries are what the user inputs in order to see the ad. Google then will rank each ad that is eligible to show based on how much you're bidding and the expected performance. This includes how specific your keywords are. This includes how well your landing page links to other pages. And it also includes, you know, how well your pages explain the actual content. All of these factors will determine how frequently your ad is shown. Google will then show one or some of those ads in the search result, depending on the query. And if a user clicks on the ad, Google will bill the account for the click. An important note here is that for ad grant accounts, since it is free advertising dollars, you will not get charged anything. And you actually won't even have a payment, like a credit card or a payment system, like linked to your ad grant account. So again, billing for the click is basically using that credit that we talked about at the beginning. In terms of how you set up a campaign in the Google Ad Grant, each campaign contains a number of ad groups, which contain a number of keywords and ads. A campaign is a broad bucket that holds together a particular initiative, right? So you could have a campaign around donating to your organization. You could have a campaign around getting people to volunteer. You could have a campaign around getting people to sign up for your email list. All of these are different campaign topics and plenty more. Within each campaign, the Google Ad Grant actually requires at least 2 ad groups, which are more specific topics within each campaign. And these hold keywords and ads. Generally speaking, you can align one ad group per landing page, right? So if you have multiple different pages on your site that you collect email addresses, you might have separate ad groups for each of those lead capture landing pages that you have on your site. The keywords are essentially the searches that you want to come up for. When people search around those topics in Google, you want your ads to serve when those particular searches come up. So that is the purpose of keywords. And then the ads are the actual copy that is shown.